tenants profile. So I'm going to click move in up here for an administration side move in. If they're an existing tenant, you can select their profile, so we'll move them in. I'm just going to click new tenant and add some details in here. So I filled in the appropriate fields. Again, these fields are directly populated with what's in your move-in settings. So I'll click next. I'm going to apply some filtering to find some units. So I'm going to select all locations and then all the buildings. Then all the availability within that set. So I'll just take unit 306. If you need to adjust the rental rate, if I'm getting a better rate for my rental, maybe I'm getting it $75 a month instead of $100, you do have the ability to do that on the fly. If you have an integrated gate, you can enter their gate code in here, whatever you're signing them. You can see since it is first of month billing, it did prorate the move-in. I'm going to select next. If you have insurance plans, you can add them here. For my case, I'm not going to add any. Fees and services, as long as they're set up in the settings, you'll have the available, all the available ones here to select. So I'll pick an administration fee. I'm not going to purchase any blocks or anything. So I'm just going to select next. And it brings us to the last page of the move-in. So an instant signature, if you're operating off an iPad there in the office, you can have them just sign with their finger. If you're doing like paper copies with wet signatures, you can draw like a signature line. So when you print off the rental agreement, they can sign with their pen. In most cases, you might want to use signature on email. So as long as they entered an email into the tenant details at the beginning, it's going to send them an e-sign link that they can sign with on their own device. I'll pick instant signature though. Payment type. If you select credit card, it's going to populate the credit card portal. Different options down here for saving the card or enable auto pay directly. I'm just going to cash. That's it. I'm successfully moved in. To send the move-in confirmation email, reminder that is an email that's automated for online rentals. You simply click the paper airplane icon. It's going to send them that confirmation that has their online credentials to log into their tenant portal and any other verbiage that's on that agreement. A PDF version of their invoice, PDF version of their receipt, their rental agreement. And then if you do have like Twilio or SMS, it's integrated. You can send them a text message with this verbiage in it directly right here. So I'm going to click on view to go to my tenant portal. So I'm on my tenant profile right now. You'll notice on the left-hand side, if you need to edit personal details, there's a pencil icon up here that lets you do so. Auto bill preferences, would you go to add credit cards. So if you click on add card, it's going to populate, fill in the appropriate details, and then the card will be saved on file. Once there's a card that's saved on file, if you want to turn on recurring payments, you go to lease preferences and toggle this to blue. So it'll display exactly how it displays up here for a recurring invoice, except it'll say next payment on and then tell you when their card's going to be processed. With this account being a first month billing account, I would expect it to say some sort of form of the first of the month. If you need to update prices on units, there's a billing option here. So if I was actually going to $100 up to the standard rate, save, and the next invoice that generates will be for $100. Now down here in the bottom of the profile, There's a ledger and a transaction history. They're essentially the same thing if they only have one unit. If I was in two different units, it'll say like 306 and 307 up here, and I could toggle back and forth between which unit information I'm looking at. And all that information will show together in your ledger. The transaction history is based off which unit you have selected. So PDF version of the invoice, PDF version of the receipt. Underneath documents will be my rental agreement. There's an e-sign section here. Gives you the ability to resend it directly from here as well. There's a note section. So you can add pretty much whatever note you want into your tenant accounts. They do not show up anywhere for the tenant to see. And then if you do have SMS integrated, there's two-way texting within the tenant's profile. Some more functionality is going to be in this menu button in the top right of your screen. So I'll click on that. They have the ability to transfer units, waive late fees, schedule move-outs, apply a red overlock to mark it in the system as them being overlocked. The settings for this do it automatically if you have it set up correctly in your delinquency settings. Same thing with the gate overlock. This would be your automated gate overlock for any sort of integrated gate. It gives you the option to delete the lease. In most cases, you're going to want to use the move out function. Deleting lease will remove them from the software. There will be no payment history of them, so just be very careful with delete lease. Apply discounts, and then creating invoices. The software does create invoices for you automatically. In the event where you need to create a new invoice, if you click on create invoice, it gives you two different options. Next invoice is a billing period invoice. So if I select that, you'll notice that there's a billing period that's attached to it. So if I just hit save, it's going to generate my September invoice. You'll notice that my September invoice will be auto-generated on 8/22. The other option within create invoice is a custom invoice, which is like a one-off invoice. So you see there's no billing period that's attached to it. So if I were to click on add new item, then to drop down, gives you the ability to sell merchandise straight through here. If I wanted to add 24-hour access to my account, if I wanted to access maybe a dumpster that's on site, and you have that service that's set up, you can bill them that way as well. So I'm going to generate an invoice for that. You'll notice it did bill my account. I've got an invoice for it. So it's got an invoice for a dumpster fee. Now to take payments, it's as easy as using the search bar. It takes first names, last names, email addresses, phone numbers, unit numbers, and then they'll take you to the tenant. Just click on pay. All the available invoices that can be paid will show up here. Just make sure that you turn off or turn on which invoices you're trying to pay. And then down here in the payment type, it's just picking what payment. So successful payment. If I want to send that receipt to the person, just select the receipt and hit send. These are both PDF versions of these, so the invoice and the receipt. I'm going to go back to my tenant page. So you notice it has my payment and my invoice. Now it does give you the ability to void things as well, and it needs to be done in chronological order. So if I wanted to void this invoice, I'd have to void the payment first. So I'm going to select actions, then delete, enter my remarks. So now I'm back to owing the $20 for that invoice. And then I can actually delete this invoice as well. So again, I'm back to a zero balance as if I was never billed for that. Now to move out, you can just simply find the tenant, select move out. I don't have any balance due. I just need to select a reason for leaving and hit move out. I'm successfully moved out. So it's got a PDF version of the move out receipt. If I want to send that receipt to the person, all I need to do is hit send email. And then there's also the ability to send text messages as well.